Welcome back to CTV Morning Live and Ask the Expert with Doyle Salewski. If you got questions about your finances, here's a perfect opportunity to get some free advice, friends. 613-789-6559, extension 2803. Ottawa.morning@ctv.ca is our email address, or you can get on our Facebook page and ask a question there. Paul Salewski joins us this morning. Brian Doyle, by the way, is in Toronto.
In Toronto,
doing some business and
doing some business,
so on.
that's right.
You guys are very busy. There's no question about that.
We're busy.
Yeah.
Well, there's always room for more. There's always room to help people and
exactly.
get that across.
And that's why you're here today, is to help people out. We've got Jane on the telephone, and Jane has a very good question. Good morning, Jane. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Very good. Now, what's your question?
I married my husband 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He had credit cards that I didn't know anything about. He recently passed away.
Sorry to hear that, Jane.
Thank you. Am I responsible for his credit card debt?
Yeah, that's a good question.
They were only in his name.
Right.
I did not know anything about them until just recently.
Yeah. Is this where marital debt comes into play?
Well, it is, except even if between husband and wife, husband has debt, wife has debt, and as long as the two of them haven't crossed or guaranteed each other, it's their own singular debts. Your husband's debt is his debt. His estate is responsible for paying those debts, and you're not responsible for paying those debts.
So if the estate has enough money to cover those debts and so on, and things are worked out that way,
that's right,
they'll be looked after. If, in fact, there is not enough money through insurance, what have you, to cover them, what happens?
Well, the estate typically can file an assignment in bankruptcy if it wants to. It can be bankrupt as well, the same way as an individual can. That would clear up the debt situation conclusively.
Right. What should Jane do at this point, Paul?
I don't know whether her husband had a will or whether he had assets or whatnot. I suspect you've been speaking to a lawyer with respect to that. You can always give us a call at Doyle Salewski. We'll sit down and spend a few minutes with you with respect to the situation, give some thoughts on that.
Yeah.
But typically, you are not responsible for those debts personally, unless you would have co-signed or done anything to say that.
What about debt that is acquired during a marriage?
Well, once again, it depends on who acquired the debt and who signed for what. Sure. So if I apply for a credit card and my wife's not involved, it's my debt. If we apply for a joint credit card, it's both of our debts.
Even if this is after the legal wedding?
Absolutely. You're still separate individuals for credit situations.
Yeah.
And the only time it comes together is if you make it come together by doing the credit cards, doing mortgages, that sort of thing.
What if you have knowledge of it, but you're just not associated with it? Does that matter?
No.
It doesn't matter?
No, it's my debt versus her debt.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Got an email question that's in from Sally. Let's see what this. I have about $50,000 of debt, but even with my job, I'm months behind on my bills. Is there any option for me other than filing for bankruptcy? I would guess yes.
Yes, the answer is you can file a proposal, as I said before, just a deal between yourself and your creditors based upon what you're willing to offer and based upon what you can afford to offer. We will analyze your situation, look at your income, and see what kind of a plan we can put together that would satisfy your creditors. Right. As I said before, the only big thing that affects here is you have to offer more than the creditors would receive if you were bankrupt. And that's for a lot of people.
Which is fair.
Well, it's fair, but it also in the same vein, a lot of people really don't have a lot of assets.
Right.
So it's not really a big number lots of times.
Although Sally, in this case, does have a job.
She has a job. Well, it depends what her income is, though.
Right.
It could be much of anything. But yeah, a proposal. Come in and see us. Give us a call. We'd be more than happy to sit down with our free consultation and talk to you, Sally, about that.
Exactly, and that's a good idea to speak to somebody about this, but be careful. Because as you and I were talking about in the break, you see the ads on TV. Yeah. You see them all over the place. They're in magazines, they're in newspapers. There are scams out there of people who say they're going to help you out of your financial situation, but that's not necessarily true.
That's true. There are a significant number of people who call themselves credit counselors these days who really aren't counseling credit. They're really out to get you, to give them money, to try and put together a plan. Certainly there are legitimate organizations out there, don't get me wrong, but there are a significant number who aren't. You phone them up or you send them an email. The first thing they want from you is some money before they'll even talk to you.
Yeah, upfront money.
They'll arrange to do something for you. We had a guy come in and file for bankruptcy last week, as a matter of fact, that he'd given $1,200, $1,400, something like that, to an organization, and they weren't doing anything. And he received some more calls. His debts weren't being paid. He phoned his credit card company. They said, well, we don't deal with those people. So you got to be careful who you talk to. A lot of those situations are just that scam.
No kidding.
And the first thing they want from you is some money. Before they'll go anywhere, just give me some money.
Yeah, it's the ultimate vulture, isn't it? Because here are people in the worst financial condition of their lives.
You're vulnerable, and they're saying, look, don't go bankrupt. We can stop all that. And really, they can't. A lot of these organizations don't, or they only deal with part of the debt. They don't deal with all the debt. A lot of these organizations can do nothing with Canada Revenue Agency, for example.
How do people know?
They don't know.
Yeah.
But my view is the best way to do is to not deal with those folks at all. Visit a reputable trustee. They'll sit down and they'll give you the information. We're licensed by the Government of Canada.
Exactly.
And we're controlled by the Government of Canada in what we do.
Yeah, you're under the watchful eye, right?
The other thing I might say is the proposal that we do is a legally binding document. Once it's there, it can't be changed, whereas these other situations can be changed. If your creditor decides tomorrow not to follow up your plan, you're finished.
We've got Sharon waiting on the line. We'll get to her question coming up next in our final segment of Ask the Expert with Doyle Salewski. There's how you can get in touch with us. One more segment to get your question answered here on CTV Morning Live. We'll be right back.